Today I'm sharing the second of 3 recipes that I had tested and asked you which ones you wanted to see first. So last week you got the protein bars. This week you're going to get this. This is my white bean Alfredo sauce. Delicious, thick, and full of fiber. And you know exactly what's gone into it. So if you'd like to see how this is made, stick around because it's coming up next. Hello and welcome to my journey. My name is Roy. I'm a home cook and amateur baker, and I'm here on this channel sharing recipes to help me on a weight loss journey and hopefully you as well. Now today is going to be my white bean Alfredo sauce. When I asked for people to vote on the 3 recipes I had tested a few weeks ago, this came up second. So this is the one you're getting this week. Next week, you'll get the 3rd recipe, which is for zucchini bread. So why add white beans to an Alfredo sauce? For a couple of reasons. It's going to help us to thicken up the sauce without adding flours and things like that. It's also going to improve the fiber. So if you need a little more fiber in your diet, this is the sauce for you. So let's go over the ingredients. I have here my cooking spray. We're just gonna lightly spray our saucepan. Here I have one 15-ounce can of white beans. I use cannellini beans, but any white bean that you have is fine. You just wanna make sure that they're drained and rinsed. Here I have 1 cup of almond milk, and that's gonna help to loosen up our sauce a little bit. The beans are gonna really thicken it, so we need something to help loosen it up to make it more like an Alfredo. Here I have 1/2 cup of diced onion, and that was about a half a medium onion. You can add as much or as little as you want. It's all up to you. Here I have 1/2 cup of freshly grated Parmesan. Now you don't want the Parmesan that you get in the store in the canister. That is not what we're looking for. That has agents to keep things from clumping, and it may make it difficult for it to absorb into the sauce. Here I have 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, and again, you can use more or less depending on your taste. Here I have 1 tablespoon of light butter, and I use the I can't believe it's not butter light, this one here. I found it to be the lowest as far as bites and points, but whatever one you use is fine. Just make sure you put everything into the recipe builder so you get accurate nutrition facts. Here I have 1/2 teaspoon of salt divided, and that's divided because we're going to put some in with the onions to help some of that moisture to come out of them, and then we're going to add some in with the beans to enhance their flavor. I have here some pepper. I'm just going to add that to taste. And here I have 1 whole nutmeg. Now, I'm not using a whole nutmeg. You just want a little pinch of nutmeg to add to this to enhance the flavor. But if you don't want to use it, you don't have it, don't worry about it. And to get my nutmeg grated, this is an actual nutmeg grater, and I'm going to be using this and just put a little sprinkle into the sauce. All right, so those are all of the ingredients. Let me shuffle a few things around and we'll get started. All right, so I have a large saucepan here heating over medium heat. I'm just going to, now that it's hot, coat that with a little cooking spray and add in the light butter. And we just want to get that light butter melted down. And now that that's melted, we're going to add in the onion and 1/4 teaspoon of salt and stir that around to get that coated with the butter and spread that salt around. And you do want to stir these occasionally just so they don't start to get too dark. All right, so now we just want to cook this down until it softens. It's going to take about 5 minutes, so I'll be back in a moment. All right, so it's been about 5 minutes, and now what I'm going to do is add in the garlic. We're just going to cook this until it becomes fragrant. It only takes about 30 seconds. You just want to cook it down a little bit to get rid of any bitterness that the garlic might have. Okay, now that the garlic has had time to become fragrant, we're going to add in the beans, almond milk, the remaining 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and just a few grinds of black pepper. And you can add as much of that as you want. I'm just putting it in lightly right now, and we can add more later. And we just want to cook this for all of those flavors to meld together and everything to warm through, and that's just going to take about 3 minutes. Okay, so now that it's been 3 minutes, I'm going to add in the Parmesan and a little grating of nutmeg. Just a little bit, you don't need much. And this is a whole nutmeg. In case you've never seen it, you've only seen the stuff in the jars. And I love having these on hand because you can use them in all sorts of things. I will sometimes add these to a meat dish like beef, and it really does bring out a nice flavor. So I like having those on hand. And cook this through, stirring constantly so that cheese can melt. I mean, Parmesan is the base for Alfredo sauce, so you want to make sure that that's good quality and that you get it fully incorporated. All right, so that's been about 30 seconds. That's all we need. Now I'm going to go to my blender. I've tried doing this with the stick blender and it doesn't really work very well because you can't really get the beans mashed up as much as you'd like. You could use a food processor, but just be aware that there is a line on the food processor that says not to let liquids go above that line. So you just want to make sure you don't go beyond that or it could start to spill out of the top. All right, so I'm going to add this in to my blender, and some of the cheese may have melted onto the bottom, so just make sure you scrape that out. Now I have warned in the past about using hot liquids in a blender because if it's hot, it's going to produce steam as you're blending it and the top could blow off and splatter things around. We didn't really heat this up that much, so I don't think it's going to be a problem. But if you'd rather be more cautious, you can just remove this fill cap and you put a towel over the top very loosely so that steam can still escape, but it's not going to build up in there and it's not going to splash out. But I honestly don't think I need it. I haven't before. So now we just have to blend this up until it becomes a smooth sauce. Okay, and we're just going to scrape anything down that might have clung to the sides. Like sometimes little bits of onion may cling there. Not that it's that big of a deal if they do, because it's not going to bother the texture at all. But this looks just about right. I'm just going to give it another 5 or 10 seconds. All right, and I'm going to pour this into a measuring cup just so I can see exactly how much we're getting. All right, so as you can see, we have about 2.5 cups. This makes 4 servings, so that is going to give you a little over a half a cup per serving. But it's nice and thick. If you blend it up and you find it still a little too thick, just add a little bit of water, but you shouldn't have that problem. But that's all there is to making my white bean Alfredo sauce. So hopefully you will give it a try. Now, as far as nutrition facts, if you are having this serving 4, and you could spread that out to 6 if you want, but I'm doing it as 4, and each of those servings would be 2 Better Balanced Bites or 2 WW points. I'm on the Healthy Better Balanced plan, which is equivalent to the old WW Blue plan, and this time it is the same on the WW point system they're currently using. Now, if you are following calories, the calories for each serving would be 160. And if you were following macros, the fat is 4 grams. Saturated fat is 2.3 grams. Protein is 10.4 grams. Carbs are 24.7 grams. Fiber is 5.3 grams. And sugars are 2.4 grams for 1/4 of this. And again, you could spread that out to 6 servings. It all depends on what you feel like doing with it. I like serving this as 4 because we like to have our pasta saucy, a lot like me. Now you can store this in the fridge if you want to make it ahead of time, and I would store it no longer than 5 days, but it comes together so quickly you really don't have to prepare it beforehand. But if you wanted to, you easily could. And if you enjoyed this recipe and this video, I'd appreciate the usual: like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit that notification bell for the next time I upload any sort of video. Now, if you want the recipe for this, it is of course going to be on my blog. I will link directly to the recipe below, as well as to the blog itself. And check the description box for all sorts of other information, such as my Amazon storefront, my own personal stores, my cookbook link, and also my social media if you'd like to follow me over over there. All right, well, I'm going to store mine because I still have a ways to go before dinner. But we are going to be enjoying some of this tonight. I think maybe with some gnocchi. That sounds good. Anyway, I hope you will give this a try yourself very soon. And until next time, bye.